Merry Keymas, day 24, Christmas Eve. How amazing is that? Tomorrow is Christmas, and obviously that's a day of huge celebration and new beginnings. And the theme of today's Keymas is transformation and emerging. Now, we picked the word emerging because I personally love that word. I feel that, it's a bit like the eclipse, isn't it? Like when the planet emerges from the shadow of the other planet and then it lights up. And emerging for me is the idea of coming out of darkness and shining and potential, limitless potential. Emerging for me is also the idea of readiness. I always look back at my full year, and last year I did a 10-year review, and the purpose of that is to look back at everything you've achieved, all the transformation, all the change, and to see patterns and to recognise that actually there is no regrets, there's no mistakes, that we are emerging and we're here now through transformation, we're here now through all of these experiences that are getting us ready for right now. And Megan and I have been talking about it, and I think it's really important. The idea that we are here right now, right here, right now, for a reason, for me is, it's such a lovely idea that we are here and we're significant, and that we didn't get here by accident or arrive haphazardly, that we're now ready to emerge. Emerge is what? How can we emerge? Well, the other night at the Christmas Kiss event where we experienced the great conjunction with the two planets, Megan gave you 4 things to consider, and those things were the planet, the earth, being respectful, seeing yourself as a steward of the earth. So that's something you could emerge doing. Love, filling yourself with love and allowing that love to overspill into others, and asking yourself, what would love do? That's another idea. Connection, connecting with the universe and aligning yourself with higher consciousness. So those were all ideas that Megan suggested that you use to rise up, which was her 4th idea, where we all energize and co-create and we all rise up into 2021. In this Keymas, I want to talk about archetypes, and what better archetype what better tool to help you think about archetypes than grace. And grace is actually full to overflowing with archetypes. Archetypes are like role models, or they could be mythical characters, and they have characteristics that I believe are aspirational for us. And there are a number of archetypes in grace. Now I've just written down a few here which I think might be worthwhile you exploring as you emerge into 2021. The first archetype, these are core archetypes, and they are applicable to both women and men. And the first archetype is the magician. Now the magician archetype appears in chapter 13, and it's actually called the magician, and it also appears in chapter 7, I am the creator. And the magician archetype is the creative archetype. It's the alchemist archetype, the person that is able to turn shadow into gold, the person that's able to transmute themselves from their shadow side, the negative, the blocks that have maybe been holding them back, and move consciously and deliberately and transmute and transcend all of that darkness and shadow and move into light and experience the gold and the treasures of life. So consider that, the magician archetype. The second archetype in grace, one of a number, but the second today, is the warrior. And the warrior is a woman in the book, but obviously that can be the warrior man. And that archetype appears in chapter 12, which is the spirit of adventure. Now this warrior woman in this this in that chapter is all about bravery and courage, and not being afraid to step into the unknown and uncertainty, and to be able to navigate that, and to be able to weave the tapestry of magic and creation into that uncertainty, and to explore limitless potential. So that's a wonderful archetype that perhaps you could aspire to take with you, become in 2021. The other archetype is the Queen and the King. And where we find the Queen in Grace, the book, well, there's two main chapters. The Queen appears in Mother's Love, and she actually appears when Grace is in India, when Grace is emerging from one of the small rooms where she finds the mother taking care of all the children, and she sees a wonderful tile, and it's a beautiful lady crowned with 7 stars in her head, and that's the Queen archetype. Now, what would be amazing for you to take the Queen and the King archetype into 2021 is the idea of you being in charge of your own kingdom, and your kingdom is your body, your mind, your spirit. And so that archetype, the Queen archetype and the King archetype, are all about your dominion and your sovereignty, all about you owning your own space, making your own decisions and taking that. So being a queen and a sovereign of your own space and your own domain and your own kingdom and your own decisions for 2021. So that's an amazing archetype. And again, that's a kind of warrior, but it's a regal archetype. And the fourth archetype, the mother archetype and the love. And the mother archetype and the father archetype is all, and you find that in the chapters of self-love, where there's nurturing. So, taking that nurturing part of you and seeing that emerge in 2021, where you're nurturing yourself and you're nurturing others, and you're taking little seedlings of ideas and you're allowing, you're looking at them and you're energizing them and you're allowing them to grow. And obviously Mother Earth, that you are being conscious and a deliberate steward of the planet. Lots of different archetypes in the book, but the final one, and there's no better archetype than the archetype of the name of the book itself, and that is grace. And people often ask me, what does grace mean? And it's not just the name of one of the main characters. Grace is an archetype emerging into 2021 full of grace, grace full. And what does that mean? Well, we talk about this in the Key Unlock Mentoring and the Key Collective, and grace has qualities, and they are unmerited gifts. They're gifts from the universe, from the creator, from God, from the infinite, from the source, and we don't need to earn them. They're qualities and they're gifts that we have built within our DNA, but we have to become aware of them. And they're qualities like kindness and compassion and love and joy, and they are wonderful qualities, the qualities of grace. So that's what I would encourage you to think about as you move from December into 2021, the idea of you emerging and fulfilling your full potential. And your full potential is not just one idea of yourself. I'm not just Christine, I'm not just a mum, I'm not just an author, I'm not just a businesswoman, I'm everything. And I love to think of the qualities of grace and blossoming and growing into grace. So that's today's Keymas 24 idea for you, and that is to emerge in your wholeness, in your fullness, these wonderful archetypes, and specifically the archetype of grace. So have a wonderful Christmas Eve, and we'll see you tomorrow for our final message.